question for me is this. Luka Dončić, he's hovered around the best player in the league for the last 4 years. He's been to 5 straight first-team All-NBAs. That's actually more than Dirk Nowitzki. That's actually more than Steph Curry, if y'all can believe me here at home. So, Shady, if Luka can cap off this season by winning a chip, would he cement himself as the best player in the world?
I would say so. I mean, when you look at the best player in the league, no matter what sport it is, you have to have some accolades to go with it, right? He has accolades with, you talk about 5 All-NBAs.
Yes, sir.
And then you add a chip to it. I'll give you a super great example, right? We'll look at Jokic, right? When he was winning his MVPs, we were saying, yo, he's stat pattern, but he is really, really good. But we never say he's the best in the world. Think about that for a second, right? He won that championship, everyone's like, you know what, it's him. He's the guy. So I think for Luka, that's all he needs. I mean, if you ask somebody who's the top 5 players in the league, Luka's going to be on that list, right? I mean, for this year, he was 3rd in the MVP voting. Yeah. So all you need is that ring to solidify that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's my suit looking good. I don't know that. I see anyway, but so all I'm saying is this. To go with a narrative as far as the best player, you need them chips. Yeah. That's why it's hard to put Aaron Rodgers, his man, up there because...
Say already?
No, I was giving an example for the people so they could I'm painting a picture. You know what I mean? A great player, a lot of talent, a lot of awards.
Yeah. It's crazy you're going to say that.
A lot of championships. You feel me?
It's crazy you say that, you know what I mean?
It's crazy?
Because he's only going to have one, too. And you're putting him at the best.
We will get to Aaron Rodgers' conversation.
He's like 25 years old.
I ain't going to be here for that, so he might as well get it out now.
Right now we're talking about Luka. I'm going to agree with you, Shady. I'll agree with you. I think that right now the 3 best players in basketball over the last 3 years, I'm looking at body of work, Luka Dončić, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic. Those are the 3 who have hovered around the best players. Giannis, I got to disqualify because Giannis, the last 2 seasons, he's ended the season hurt. Obviously, y'all know I ride for Giannis, but you end the season hurt, then you are disqualified. So now it's Jokic and it's Luka. Jokic is currently better, but Shady said it already brilliantly. If Luka wins a championship, then I have to give Luka the slight nod. Jokic was not better than Giannis until Jokic won a championship. He had an MVP, but Giannis had a couple MVPs, and Giannis had a finals and a finals MVP. But it was a unanimous decision that Jokic now sat on the throne once Jokic won a championship. If y'all remember, Kevin Durant dropped 49, 17, I believe, and 7. So we were still saying that KD was better than Giannis until KD went and until Giannis went, and Giannis won a championship. To me, the great separator in all of this is championships. You play to win the game, a coach once brilliantly said. If Luka can win all of it, I do believe it gives him the slight nod over Jokic. If not, I think Jokic still reigns on the throne.
Yeah, I mean, it would be between Jokic and Luka. I think I tend to agree with you that we usually award the best, most dominant player who wins the championship that title. And it doesn't always switch, obviously, because you may have someone like a LeBron James or, Michael Jordan or someone, or Kevin Durant or Steph Curry. Like, it kind of switches year to year, and then you'll have some outliers where, like, okay, like, they may have won the championship, but that doesn't necessarily make them the best player in the world. But Luka does have a pretty solid resume to go along with that championship that could make that argument. I think that overall, Jokic is still the most dominant. So if people were to say, no, Jokic is still better, you're not going to get a huge argument out of me. But I do think that it would be completely fair to say that Luka is. He did have his first scoring title this year. He was 3rd in MVP voting. He's been in the MVP conversation for a few years now, averaged 33 points per game this season, 8.9 rebounds, 8.9 assists. And obviously, Jokic is a really dominant player as well and has a championship and also 3 MVPs. Yes. So, again, I think it's like this, but if you wanted to say Luka, I obviously think it depends on how the finals go as well, right? Like, we are basing all of this predicting that if they win the finals, he's going to have a completely dominant performance throughout the finals. He's going to be by far the best player, score the most points, all of that, be the leader of the team. We're making all these assumptions about how this journey will go. Obviously, when we're asking this question. If it happens like that, I think it's fair to say he's the best, but I would still listen to arguments about it.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's wrong up here. I mean, this is a great player we're talking in Luka, but to get in that conversation as the best basketball player in the NBA, you got to win an MVP. That lets the world know that you are the
regular
best.
Season.
Yeah, you are the best basketball player in the world. That's what that says. Now, once you do win an MVP, you got all these eyes on you. Now it's time to go win a championship. Joker got 3 MVPs, a championship, and a championship MVP. Luka will have a championship and a MVP with in the finals MVP with no regular season MVPs. So for me, Luka is a great player. But when you talk about the best basketball player in the league, I can't just erase what I've seen Joker do the last 4 seasons. 3 MVPs out of 4 seasons. I can't erase that. And on top of that, he won a chip. And on top of that, he was the finals MVP. I can't erase that. Luka has no MVPs in the regular season.
Right.
He has no championships as of right now. He will have the same amount of championships as Joker if he wins, but he won't even touch
Let me put that real quick there, right? Because that was a good take. But, like, what you can't forget is that Luka's 25 years old.
No question.
Right? Jokic is 29 or almost pushing 30, right? So it was a period of time where, I mean, he wasn't even starting, and he got going, and he is today where he is. But if you look at Luka, though, soon Luka just jumped on this earth, right? At 14, playing pro ball, you come to America, right, where all the greats is playing, right? And he's going to he's in the 6th year. He got 5 All-NBAs.
No
First
question.
team.
First teams at that, though.
First team.
Think about how that sounds, though. So I'm building him up. Because you're talking about some regular season stuff. That's cool, right? The MVP, which everybody needs.
Of course.
If you just building his career up, 5 first-team NBAs, right? I'm only 25 years old. And then you look at what has he done for his team, right? So in 3 years, he's been to the Western Conference Final twice. So he's showing you, right? I don't care how old I am.
He's a great player.
23 or 25. Yeah. I'm getting better and better and better. If you look at all the other greats we talk about, like the LeBrons, like the Jordans, right? It took some time for them to get going. When they first championship at 27, 28? Luka's skipping all that. So all I'm saying is that you have a point as far as the MVPs, which that's a regular season award, which is cool. But if you've seen Luka, he's carrying regular, I'm not gonna say regular. He's carrying good teams, not great teams, good teams to the playoffs, beating good teams, and then now he's in the finals. And he's only 25. So it's scary what he look like in 2 years.
The only thing with that is great as what you just said as Luka is playing.
These ain't great numbers, right? I just said to you.
They are great. As great as
you can't even make that up.
As great as you just said Luka is playing, it's a dude beating him out for the MVP.
That is true. But I got a question, though, James.
But that's some stats,
that means he is playing great, too.
And he's home. This means at home.
Luka was at home last year.
I got a question, though, James, and it really is for everybody, Joy, Shady, yourselves included. If MVP doesn't make you the best player, because we know that it doesn't necessarily. Russell Westbrook, in my mind, was never the best player in basketball, and he has an MVP.
He had the best season that year.
No doubt about it, but I'm simply saying James Harden, I don't believe he was ever the best player in basketball. He has an MVP. So what we know is having an MVP doesn't make you the best player in basketball. So how does not having one keep you from being the best player?
But Jokic doesn't have
Come on,
MVP.
man.
Correct. I'm talking. I'm saying if
he has 3.
If the argument that James is making is Luka does not have an MVP, thus he can't be the best player.
Yeah, but he doesn't have 1. Like, Jokic has 3. And again, like, I don't feel that strongly about it. But to back James up, like, it's not like Luka, it's not like he's like, okay, he has a championship, he has a championship, he has a finals MVP, he has a finals MVP, he has a regular season MVP, and Luka doesn't. Okay, but Jokic has 3 regular season MVPs. He's been the most dominant player in the league for the past 3 to 4 years. He has a championship. He has a finals MVP. And during the regular season, he's been the most dominant player. So that's why I'm saying, like, I can put Luka up there because right now he's playing at the highest level. And until next year when we see what happens again, I'm fine with Luka taking the crown. But to just ignore what Jokic has done consistently, and again was in the postseason this year. Like, they lost, they're at home for sure. They weren't the best team this year, but he was not like didn't go ghost in the postseason this year.
So when when Jokic had the 2 MVPs, right, before the championship, what was the question mark? I'm asking y'all.
Championship.
No. But they were questions like, yo, is he really the best player?
Correct. Yeah, because can he win the big game?
So, but I'm saying, with these MVPs y'all keep talking about, there was a big question mark. Yo, is he the guy? Everybody kept asking, is it him? Is it Embiid? Should Embiid got the MVP? Like, there was my thing with the voters, this is why, and I'm no disrespect, because y'all know you're a voter for NFL, but I don't always put, like, all the credit in the voters' hands. Sure. Do you ever see some of these voters? Did you ever look at some of these voters? You ever talk to some of these voters about sports? So I'm not going to diss them. I'm saying, you know what I'm talking about. But what you can't miss is, bruh is 25 years old, right? In 6 years, he got 5 first-team NBAs, and now he's taking the average teams to Western Conference Finals, and he's in the finals. Well, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but really quick, because those 5 first-team all NBA teams, same voters, right? Same voters.
But it's different, though. Because he was the best. But the difference is he's the best point guard watching. We watched that. Where the voters, we were up and down, yo, is it Embiid or is it Jokic? Because the numbers are super similar, and they start talking about stat padding. I'm not making this up. There was a whole freaking conversation about him stat padding for the MVP. So before you try to compare them, one is different than the other.
My thing is, how do you stat pad? Ain't it people trying to stop you?
No, a rebound, your man moves out the way,
and
you get
assist. The man is a triple-double, triple-double, triple-double. The man has 3 MVPs. I don't know if y'all know. I don't know how long the NBA been around. It's 9 dudes that has ever, in the history of the NBA, it's 9 dudes that has ever won 3 MVPs. This man has 3 of them in 4 years. On top of a championship, on top of a finals MVP.
So Shaq's the most dominant of all time, right? Most dominant of all time?
I believe so.
He got 1. Kobe got 1? Yeah. Right? So when you talk all this loud stuff about the MVPs and all that, just know that they gave Steve Nash. Oh, no. We talking about, we ain't never seen them get it wrong with the MVPs.
Okay, wait.
But what I'm saying is,
we're getting crazy now, though. Like,
no, we're not.
Because now we acting like we ain't watching Joker, though. That's what, now we acting like we ain't like, you saying James Harden, we acting like we ain't seeing what Joker is doing.
I'm not discrediting that. All I'm saying is that it was a big conversation for a reason about him stat padding and about who should be the real MVP out of him and Embiid.
The only place I'm at is Joker's been better. For the last 3 years, he's been better than Luka. I don't know that the delta has been that sizable, right? In the same breath that when Giannis was winning his MVPs and Jokic wasn't, and when Giannis won his title and Jokic hadn't, the gap wasn't that big. Giannis was better. I was always going to say Giannis was better, but I was like, yeah, Jokic is nice. And then Jokic won his, and then Jokic surpassed him. I think Luka is hovering behind the Joker, but I don't think Joy or James did it so far that this championship won't put him like barely in.
Acho, you didn't ask us how far.
Let me ask you
asked us
if it's not that close. If it's not that close, how close is Luka if he doesn't win this championship?
I think he's still a top 3 player in basketball. I don't think he's won.
Easy.
I can't
Who's
make
won,
him one.
Acho?
Joker. The Joker.
So what are we talking about?
No question.
You see, you put Jokic, but I'm trying to put Jokic on that Mavs team for last 3. See what they do.
The difference
that matters.
Is, I think the difference is like I'm with Joy though. I don't think
Are
it's.
we talking about the same player? Are we talking about Nikola Jokic? Is this who we're talking about?
That's who they talking about.
Because we sound absolutely crazy right now, and I want us to retain some credibility.
What's crazy about it?
Jokic has been the most dominant player in the league. Like, dominance. Like, making it look like he's playing junior varsity teams. Okay? Like, throwing the ball like this.
If we really keep it
to the other end of the court on a string. Like, we gotta chill out a little bit. Like, if Luka is an incredible player.
Yeah, he like that too, though.
And until he wins the championship, Jokic is still at the top. So even if so for us to even really put Luka really in the conversation with Jokic, who has 3 MVPs and a championship, Luka has to win the championship and the championship and the Finals MVP to be in that conversation of being number 1. So let's just not disrespect Jokic by acting like this is all he needs to do to surpass him. Like, there is still going to be a conversation of Jokic being the best player.
Even if Luka wins it, I'm saying it's razor thin, Luka. But I'm with you. I'm with your first lap, Joy, of like, I'll listen to the argument either way. I will listen to the argument. Because when you think about Luka, he finished last 5 years. 4th in MVP, 6th in MVP, 5th in MVP, 8th in MVP, 3rd in MVP.
Who was first?
That's Luka. Jokic was first, obviously, 3 of those 4 years. So I say that to say, Luka averages a 4th place finish in MVP. So that's why the delta is there, but it's not like Luka's not in the conversation. He's in the conversation. Then if he can win, I think that if he can win, I'll submit to like, Luka's better.
If you would have asked us how close is it, we probably all would have had the same answer. But it's tough to see what he has accomplished in the MVPs and the Finals MVP and winning a championship and watching his game play with our own 2 eyes of how good this dude is. It'll be crazy to say that Luka is better than this man. That sounds crazy to me.
If he wins, that sounds crazy. If he wins, that sounds crazy.
We watch Luka, right?
Joker has won.
I don't think it's crazy to say that Luka is better if he wins. I don't think that's crazy. I think it's crazy to say he's way better, or that there's no conversation about Jokic still being the best.
I'm not saying that. Were you saying that?
What?
If Luka wins, is it a conversation between Jokic?
Yeah.
No question.
But my thing is with Luka is like, and before Kyrie, look at them teams, the dudes he played with, right? And
it's spectacular.
I hate to do that because like every player matters, right? It matters. But like, come on, man. They carrying them dudes. 2 years ago when they played the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, did you see that squad?
Correct.
Did y'all see that squad? All right, so like when you speaking about all this, MVPs and that's, you can't take that away from that. But I'm just saying, my argument was we've seen voters messed it up plenty of times, right? We've seen that. Yeah. Another part is like you got to put in the fact that look who Luka's his teammates.
So what are you doing though? But
because that matters though, right?
You keep talking about the voters. You watching Joker these past 4 seasons. You saying they messed that up?
One of them years, I think it should have went to Embiid. That's my opinion.
And it did.
No.
Another one.
Because the one that Embiid won,
the one he lost, that was a close one. Was it not?
You're talking 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Bro, the one that Embiid won, it easily could have went to Joker.
Man, look, Joker gets stats. I'm not. He's the tallest guy on the floor, and he plays center, and he plays point guard. He gonna get stats.
And he has a championship.
And he balls. He has a championship. All I'm saying is, when we talk about Luka, right? Like from the get-go, he got popped. From the get-go,
he did.
I don't need you to trade no other center out the way to start getting some playing time. And I'm not saying anything about Joker. I'm just saying what it is. Luka came in the league getting busy.
Yeah.
I can't make this up.
5 first
and then
RBAs.
your teammates that you have is not as good as Denver's. Do we all agree on that?
Agree with that.
Right? So for them to beat the Suns that year and go to, I couldn't believe, like, how did they do that? All I'm saying is this. If you switch these dudes, and I think Jokic is phenomenal, bro. I don't know if his team does the same, especially before Kyrie Irving. I don't think so. Because I watched Jokic, right, didn't have that super team.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
It got beat on.
Last year, my man wasn't even in the playoffs with Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot going on, right? I'm truthfully trade some players. There's some injuries. That happened.
The thing is, though,
what about right now, though?
Joker.
I guess. I don't know. When I watch Luka, though, there's nothing he can't do, though.
But remember, Jokic.
We ain't saying he ain't a great player, but Joker.
And the last part is this. Yo, he's 25. Like 25, though, bro.
What does that have to do with being the best player right now?
That's
you
it.
feel like you're bringing up age, but educate me on, like, what's that have to do with being the best player right now?
You being 25, being in your 6th year, right? So, obviously, the rookie year, I don't even count that year, but he did good his rookie year. Then after that, every year, you've been the best point guard in the league, and you took your team that's not that good. 3 years, out of the last 3 years, 2 of them to the Western Conference Finals? You tell me, yo, that don't count for nothing at 25?
Well, I don't think anyone's saying it doesn't count for nothing. I'm just saying that I can't erase the total resume of Jokic.
I can't erase
to make
Lucas.
room for this accomplishment.
Yeah.
I'm listening to both conversations.
Yes.
I'm willing to hear it because everything that you're saying is true. And we also can, with our own eyeballs, see how great Luka is. There's a reason why he's a one-namer right now.
I would also probably say, and this hurts me to say it, it's probably just a 2-man race. We can finally say. I think Giannis would then, if Luka wins one, Giannis, you kind of got to take a little second-tier seat. Embiid, you got to take a second-tier seat. I think it's really just the Joker, and I think it's Luka.
It's the light-skinned brothers. Giannis, he got to.
But it could change. It could change next year if one of them other dudes go to the championship. That's what you're saying.
I don't know, because here's what I'm saying is I don't think there is another player who for the last 3 years has hovered around greatness outside of Giannis and Embiid, Luka, and the Joker. Those are the 4 players to me in the last 4 years that have hovered around this supreme. We've been in the MVP conversation. Remember, Giannis this year was about to be in the win MVP again. So SGA, he just now got a pop in the last 2 years. So for me, it's not just the fact that Luka would have to win. It's Luka's consistent greatness over the last 4 years.
And the last thing,
you know who else has been consistent
I don't think that he can really.
Don't you
dare.
No, but look, I don't think Jokic can take that type of team like Luka's doing before Kyrie.
That is a different conversation.
Right? Because before he had all his pieces together, though, right? Because when Jamal got hurt and all that, we seen what that looked like.
No doubt.
Right? And I feel like Luka, he ain't had much, right?
I'm not arguing that.
You can't argue that.
Because if Luka wins this year, and when you look at their postseason resumes, relatively the same. I believe the Nuggets went to the Western Conference Finals. Joy helped me out in the bubble year versus the Lakers. They lost 4-1.
Yep.
The Mavericks went to the Western Conference Finals versus the Golden State Warriors. They lost 4-1. If the Mavericks come back and win it, they would have won a chip.
We're just ignoring the Kyrie factor, and this is conveniently we're ignoring that Kyrie Irving is playing next
I'm just saying. I'm saying their postseason success. If Luka wins this year,
let's not hold Jamal Murray against Jokic if we're not going to hold the fact that Kyrie Irving is next to.
No. I'm confirming.
You need teammates to win.
I'm confirming Shady's point of if Luka wins this year, if you look at their postseason resumes the last 4 years, you could be like, okay, postseason's a wash. Now let's get to the regular season.
We're not just talking about that. We're talking about who is the best player. Like, start of the season to the end of the season, year after year after year. Like, that's why just because somebody pops in and wins a championship does not mean that necessarily LeBron James is not the best player on the planet at the peak of his prime. Like, that's what the conversation is.
All I'm saying, I seen Jokic play dominant basketball, and when he didn't have all his pieces around him, I seen him get beat on, right? Like, we all seen him get beat on. Can't make that up.
Luka.
But right. But the difference is now Luka got a squad. I got another good player with me, too.
Right.
You see the difference? That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, Jokic is a phenomenal player for sure. But I'm saying Luka's like that, too. They in the same seat. The difference is... The difference is, somebody had a better team than I did. That's the truth.
Difference is
the truth.
You got three MVPs, a Finals MVP, and a championship. That's the difference.
Listen, I respect the MVPs. I just seen voters get it wrong a lot.
Of course. But you got it wrong 3 times, Tupac?
Steve Nash, though, just remember that.
Of course, that happened once, back in 2006.
That happened twice.
No, when they got it wrong once. They got it wrong once. He should have got it the first time.
But I'm just saying there's certain guys that shouldn't even got MVPs like that.
If we're disqualifying MVPs, we just disqualified conversation because now we can't bring up Jordan's MVPs, LeBron's MVPs. Like, we can't use it when we want to.
No.
Talk to me.
But even if one of them was questionable, he still has 2.
Hey, look, bro, listen. I respect Jokic. I'm not saying I don't. All I'm saying is, right, I'm going to take the younger guy that got busy way faster, right, that took his team farther with way less. That's what I'm taking.
But we're talking right now, though, Shady.
Yeah, that's what and right now, he's 25, 6 years.
Have you been watching these last 4 years?
Here's what I realized. Shady just like him because he's 25, big dog.
But I'm saying it's another guy that's young, too.
That 2'5", I didn't catch it till the last time.
Y'all watch Luka. Y'all watch Luka.
You watch Joe?
You watch Luka. Y'all watch him.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.